Welcome back, gang. It's been quite a while since I last posted an update, but I'm back now. I finally got settled in Korea, so today I want to answer the question, why Korea? Many people have asked me, with all the countries around the world, why I specifically chose Korea, especially with my deep affinity with Japan and Japanese culture that I spent so many years studying. Well, maybe the answer is simple, and maybe it is not. If you want the short answer, it was to fulfill a promise I made 10 years ago. But that answer is hardly adequate, so I will elaborate. The full answer goes back even further. So, for those who know me and have watched my other videos, you know how deeply impressed I am with Japanese culture. After all, both Sailor Moon and Nintendo have been major influences in my life. But truth be told, my interest in Japan actually started waning as early as 2008. I simply experienced about as much as I could by that time. Indeed, due to low income, I stopped buying video games and anime that year, and I started losing my connection to that country. As a matter of fact, I started connecting with people from the Philippines that year, and I started developing interest in that country. But things went south, and I decided not to involve myself too closely with them. Then, in 2009, some of my Filipino friends posted a strange dance video on Facebook. Well, I thought it was strange at the time, and it piqued my curiosity. Two lovely young Asian women were dancing like worms to music that I couldn't understand. Well, it was only a dance practice video, and the acoustics were not up to snuff, but that's hardly the point. Originally, I thought it was Japanese and I wanted to investigate further. That was when I first encountered K pop. The group Sistar, or specifically the subgroup Sistar 19. I just loved the way they moved and swayed, and I heard them sing so beautifully. Well, YouTube being what it is, that led me down the K pop rabbit hole that then led me to Orange Caramel, a subgroup of what would become my favorite K pop group, After School. Now, After School had so many lovely ladies, but one in particular garnered special attention. Yui, Kim Eugene. I added K-pop to my list of interests in Facebook, and it recommended to me what would be the first K-drama that I watched from 2011 to 2012, Birdie Buddy, starring Yui. It was thankfully subtitled in English so that I could understand, but knowing how nuanced language is, I wanted to understand it better. So, in 2012, I bought a language learning package of Korean, as well as some additional reading material, despite already being basically broke and deep in debt. And I began to teach myself the language. At the same time, I was hooked on K dramas, watching Ojakyo Brothers, Jang Woo Chi, and later Third Hospital, starring Girl Generation member Choi Soo-young, who is also my favorite member from that group. I became fascinated with Korean culture and wanted to explore it more thoroughly. Well, as I mentioned before, I lost my job in 2011 and took odd jobs while I looked for suitable employment. I should note that also that year I began to get involved in China, and it was suggested to me that I might like to teach English in China. Well, at that point, I was really willing to do anything, and I thought it merited further investigation. But I decided against China originally, as I had very little interest in that country at that time. I learned about the struggles Koreans faced in their early education, so I thought I might be able to do some good for these people as well. So, of the three countries I considered teaching as an option, I pursued Korea. It didn't help that Japan had just had a tsunami and subsequent nuclear disaster that left me somewhat apprehensive to move there. In 2012, at the height of the so-called Korean wave that I was fast to climb aboard, and having reached the end of my savings, I got into a fight with my soulmate over something trivial I discussed in a previous video. So I had her make me a promise. I told her that I would go to Korea to teach English and had her promise me to marry a man who could support her in ways that I no longer could. And with that, we essentially parted ways. In early 2013, I caught wind of a company in Korea hiring foreign talent to teach, and I quickly applied. But there was a problem. Despite having graduated in 2002, I still hadn't received my diploma. Because I briefly considered adding Japanese studies to my degree as a minor, but never having canceled it, I never got my degree. So I sent in the requisite forms to cancel my minor. But by the time I received my degree, the school in question had already rescinded the offer. So I was left with a choice: either find another school in Korea or find another country that would accept me. And that was when I received an offer from China and decided to apply so that I could meet some of the people with whom I had communicated over the past 3 years. I put Korea on the back burner. Well, the Korean wave ended and my interest in that country slowly deteriorated. But I never forgot my promise, so that in post-COVID times, when China became essentially unlivable, I made the decision to try Korea again. By this time, my connection to Korea was loose at best, but I am a man of my word. When I make a promise, I stick with it. And I hadn't forgotten the young people who needed my support. And thus, here I am today. Is it what I expected? Certainly not. The entire world changed in 2020 after COVID, and that included Korea as well. I was met with the same coldness here as I faced in post-COVID China. But hopefully, that will change with time. Hopefully, that adequately explains my decision to come here to teach English. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share with others who might enjoy it as well. I look forward to sharing more next time.